Part 1. Behind the smile, the cold heart of control. There is a kind of person who walks among us cloaked in charm, armed with a smile, and driven by a motive you'll never see until it's too late. They can make you feel important, needed, even adored, while quietly bending your will to serve theirs. And when the damage is done, they don't flinch, they don't apologize. They don't even feel regret. You've just crossed paths with one of the most chilling psychological phenomena in human behavior. The manipulator without remorse. This is not a tale of everyday selfishness. This is something far deeper, more calculated, more dangerous. We're not just talking about people who twist situations to their advantage. We're talking about individuals who look at relationships not as sacred bonds, but as systems to exploit. To them, people are tools. Emotions are levers. And empathy is a weakness to be weaponized. The philosopher Machiavelli once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But what happens when someone doesn't even care to be either? To understand the psychology of those who manipulate without remorse, we must first understand what they lack: empathy, conscience, a sense of inner accountability. These are not just moral features, they are neurological functions. The human capacity for guilt or shame is what prevents us from exploiting others. But these people, these emotional predators, do not possess that inner compass. Or if they do, it is so muted that it no longer functions. They feel nothing when they lie. They feel nothing when they deceive. They sleep well after betrayal. At first, they may seem like everyone else. They laugh, they cry, they express concern. But it's all mimicry. They study emotions like actors study scripts. They learn the right phrases, the right timing, the right facial expressions. But beneath the performance is a void, not a monster, but an absence, a missing piece. And that absence is what gives them power. Because without remorse, there is no hesitation, no moral pause, no internal conflict, only strategy. Why do they do it? What drives a person to manipulate others without a second thought? The answer is terrifying in its simplicity: control. Control gives them identity. Power gives them safety. Some were made this way by trauma. Others were born this way, neurologically wired for self-interest. But regardless of origin, their behavior follows a consistent pattern. They isolate you. They confuse you. They make you question yourself. And in the confusion, they plant their control. Have you ever felt like you were being emotionally spun in circles? Like no matter how clearly you explained yourself, they twisted your words. That's not miscommunication, that's gaslighting. And it's one of their favorite tools. Gaslighting is not just lying, it's psychological dismantling. It's making you doubt your own memory, intuition, and reality. Over time, you become dependent not on their love, but on their version of reality. And that's exactly where they want you.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Here's the catch. They don't always look evil. In fact, they often present as victims. They use pity as a disguise. They tell you stories of how others hurt them, how misunderstood they are, how no one truly sees them. And in your empathy, you open the door. You lower your defenses. You offer compassion, and they use it to step deeper into your psyche. Remember what philosopher Epictetus warned: appearances are of four kinds. Things either are as they appear, or they neither are nor appear to be, or they are not appear to be, or they are not and yet appear to be. The manipulator lives in the fourth category. They are not what they appear to be. So how can we tell the difference? What signs reveal the manipulator without remorse? First, look for patterns, not apologies. Anyone can say sorry. But manipulators say sorry to reset the game, not to change behavior. They will hurt you, apologize, then hurt you again without ever shifting the cycle. Second, observe their reaction to your boundaries. Do they respect your no, or do they find ways to override it? The manipulator sees your boundary as a challenge, a puzzle to be solved. And once solved, they own you. Deep question: what part of you wants to believe someone's lies, even when the truth is screaming at you? This is where we must turn inward. Because to understand the manipulator is not enough. We must also understand why we allow them in. Often, it is not naivety but need. The need to be loved, the need to be wanted, the need to be chosen. These are human needs, but when they go unmet for too long, they become vulnerabilities, and the manipulator can smell them like blood in the water. This is why healing is not just about escape, it's about excavation. You must dig into your own psyche. You must ask, what am I afraid to face in myself? What pain am I avoiding through this connection? The manipulator's power ends where your self-awareness begins. When you confront your own wounds, you become less susceptible to those who exploit them. Another chilling truth: these people often rise to positions of power, in politics, in corporations, even in spiritual communities. Their lack of remorse gives them an edge. They don't blink when they betray. They don't flinch when they lie. They move through the world with surgical precision. And because they are unburdened by conscience, they often appear confident, decisive, even magnetic. But confidence without conscience is not leadership. It's domination. So what do we do when we encounter them? How do we protect ourselves? The answer is not to fight them head on. You cannot win a war with someone who has nothing to lose. Instead, you must disengage. Withdraw your energy. Deny them access. And most importantly, heal the parts of you that once needed their approval. Because the manipulator's greatest fear is not exposure, it's irrelevance. When you no longer react, they lose control. Philosopher Lao Tzu said, "He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still." That's our task. Not to fix them, not to change them, but to master ourselves. To know our triggers, to understand our patterns, to choose peace over chaos, even when chaos wears a familiar face. The manipulator without remorse is not a myth. They are real, they are among us, and they are often the last person you'd expect. But once you see them, you can never unsee. Once you feel the chill behind their smile, you begin to wake up. And in that awakening, you reclaim your power. In the next part, we will dive even deeper into the psychological mechanics behind their behavior. We will explore how they think, how they plan, and how their minds are wired differently from most. We will also unveil the spiritual consequences of their manipulation, not just for their victims, but for themselves. Part 2. The mind of the predator inside the logic of remorseless manipulation. Now that we've uncovered the surface patterns, it's time to go deeper into the heart of the manipulator's mind, into the cold machinery behind their charm, and into the psychological void where remorse should live but doesn't. What you are about to witness is not merely behavior, it is a worldview, a philosophy twisted and self-serving that governs every move they make. To understand the manipulator without remorse, we must acknowledge a simple yet disturbing truth. They do not see people the way you do. You see people as souls, as stories, as beings deserving of dignity. They see people as tools, as pieces on a chessboard. You feel guilt when you hurt someone. They feel inconvenience when someone resists. Their mind is not guided by conscience, but by calculation. This is not just a matter of personality, it's often neurological. Studies in neuropsychology have shown that individuals with traits of psychopathy and high narcissism exhibit diminished activity in the brain regions responsible for empathy and emotional processing, particularly the amygdala and ventromedial prefrontal cortex. In simple terms, the emotional brakes are missing. Their internal world is governed by logic, control, and advantage, not morality. Some of them are high-functioning. They know the language of kindness, the rhythm of intimacy, the appearance of vulnerability. But these are scripts, not truths. They mimic what they do not feel. They learn your emotional language so they can use it to disarm you. If you value honesty, they will appear radically transparent. If you value humility, they will fake modesty. What they seek is not connection, but compliance. And yet, here's the paradox. They often believe they are the victim. The manipulator without remorse frequently sees the world as hostile, people as untrustworthy, and themselves as survivors. This is what makes them even more dangerous. They justify their manipulation as protection. In their mind, control is not cruelty, it is survival. If they hurt you, it's because you were weak. If you confront them, it's because you betrayed them. Their logic is circular. Their reality is self-contained. You cannot reason with someone who has turned their self-deception into a fortress. Philosopher Thomas Hobbes once said, "The condition of man is a condition of war of everyone against everyone." For the remorseless manipulator, this is not a metaphor, it's a mindset. Life is war. Relationships are battlefields. Vulnerability is ammunition. Love is leverage. And remorse is a luxury they can't afford. In this warlike psychology, the only objective is to win. Deep question: what happens when love meets someone who only knows how to play war? Let us look at their core strategies. First, they isolate. Not physically at first, but mentally. They sow seeds of doubt. They question your perceptions. They twist your words. Over time, you begin to wonder if you're the problem, if you're too sensitive, if you're imagining things. This erosion of self-trust is the foundation of their control, because once you doubt yourself, you seek their approval to feel stable again. Second, they triangulate. They bring in third parties, real or imagined, to destabilize you. They compare you to others. They suggest other people understand them better. They subtly imply that you're replaceable. This creates anxiety, competition, and a desperate need to prove your worth. And in that desperation, you become easier to control. Third, they reward unpredictably. This is where the psychology becomes most insidious. They alternate between affection and neglect, praise and criticism, presence and absence. Your nervous system becomes addicted to the cycle, and you start working harder for their approval, even as they give you less. This is intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism used in gambling addiction. It's not that the manipulator is always cruel. It's that they're inconsistent. And that inconsistency creates obsession. But perhaps the darkest aspect of their mind is this: they do not feel remorse because they do not see you as real. Not fully. You are a function, not a being. You are a mirror for their ego, a tool for their goals, a character in their narrative. When you cease to serve that function, they discard you. Not with anger, but with indifference. And that indifference is more painful than rage. It is the silence of someone who never actually saw you. This is why confronting them rarely works. They do not respond to emotional appeals. Your tears mean nothing to them. Your explanations are seen as weakness. Your pain is interpreted as manipulation. They project their own tactics onto you. They accuse you of doing what they are doing. And in that confusion, they maintain control. So what is the cost of living like this for them? Though they appear powerful, there is a hidden price. The manipulator without remorse is emotionally isolated. They may seem socially successful, but they have no true intimacy. They are always performing, always calculating, always watching. They trust no one. They cannot rest. They cannot surrender. They do not know what it means to be held, to be seen, to be loved unconditionally. Their life is a fortress and a prison. And what about the spiritual cost? Even if they do not believe in karma or energy, they are constantly creating fragmentation within themselves. The self that manipulates must always stay detached from the truth. They live in a fractured identity. One part of them knows they are empty, but instead of healing, they double down on control. This is the path of ego without soul, and it always ends in collapse internally or externally. You may ask, can they change? Can someone who manipulates without remorse be healed? The answer is complex. Change is possible, but only if the person experiences a rupture in their narrative, a moment of collapse, a confrontation with their own emptiness so undeniable that even their fortress of denial cannot contain it. But that moment must be self-initiated. You cannot force it. You cannot love them into awakening. You cannot drag them into the light. They must choose it, and most never do. So what can we do? We reclaim our power. We stop explaining ourselves to people committed to misunderstanding us. We stop investing in connections that drain us. We stop romanticizing potential and start honoring reality. We heal the parts of us that tolerated manipulation because we didn't believe we deserved better. We become the kind of person who is immune to emotional games because we no longer need anyone to complete us. Philosopher Immanuel Kant wrote, "Act in such a way that you treat humanity always at the same time as an end, never merely as a means." This is the ethical compass we must return to. We must treat ourselves as ends. We must demand to be treated as ends. We must walk away from those who see us only as means. And we must remember, not everyone will understand your boundaries, especially those who benefited from your lack of them. But you are not here to be understood by manipulators. You are here to be whole. In the final part, we will explore how to rebuild after manipulation, how to reclaim trust in yourself and others, how to develop immunity to future manipulators, and how to transform your pain into wisdom so deep no one can ever rob you of your truth again. Part 3. The rise of the untouchable self-healing after mind games. There comes a moment after the storm. After the gaslighting, the confusion, the betrayal. After the silence becomes louder than their words. That moment is sacred. It is not the moment of revenge. It is not even the moment of clarity. It is the beginning of you rising from the ruins of what they tried to turn you into. This is the untouchable self, the self that no longer begs for love, no longer negotiates truth, and no longer dances for crumbs of approval. This self cannot be manipulated, because it is no longer hungry for what the manipulator offers. But to rise, you must first descend. You must walk through the aftermath, the shame, the self-doubt, the grief, and yes, the part of you that still misses them. Not because they were good, but because they mirrored something you needed. Maybe it was safety. Maybe it was validation. Maybe it was the illusion of being seen. You must honor that part of you, not judge it. Because healing is not about hating the manipulator. It's about loving the parts of yourself that allowed them in. This is where the psychological work begins. You must rebuild trust in the one person they tried to separate you from, yourself. They trained you to doubt your gut, to override your instincts, to second-guess your memory. But your intuition is not broken. It was buried under their noise. And now you must learn to listen again. To the quiet voice that says, "This doesn't feel right." To the sacred no. To the full body yes. Your body remembers the truth, even when your mind forgets. Start small. Rebuild rituals of self-trust. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Set boundaries, even if your voice trembles. Say no without explaining. Walk away without guilt. This is not selfishness. It is self-respect. And self-respect is the antidote to manipulation. Because manipulators thrive on people who betray themselves to keep the peace. The moment you stop abandoning yourself is the moment you become free. Deep question. What would your life look like if you stopped negotiating your worth in rooms where you're only valued for your silence? Now let's go deeper. Manipulation damages more than your confidence. It distorts your perception of love. You begin to associate intensity with affection, chaos with passion, confusion with connection. This is trauma bonding. It's not love, it's addiction to emotional highs and lows. And breaking this bond is not a decision, it's a detox, a rewiring, a conscious redefinition of what love actually is. Love is not confusion. Love is not anxiety. Love is not walking on eggshells. Love is clarity. Love is calm. Love is consistent. If someone makes you feel small, unsafe, or invisible, that is not love. That is control dressed in affection. And the more you heal, the more allergic you become to anything that smells like manipulation. You no longer crave the performance. You crave presence, and yes, you can trust again. But trust must be earned slowly, not only from others but from yourself. Learn to spot the red flags not as threats, but as invitations to act. The first time someone crosses a line, speak. The second time, leave. Do not wait for the pattern to repeat. Do not wait for the apology. Trust behavior, not words. People lie, patterns don't. Remember this, the manipulator without remorse is not your final chapter. They are a mirror, a lesson, a rite of passage. They came to show you the places in you that were still seeking love from the outside. They came to reveal the wounds that needed your attention. And once you heal those wounds, something sacred happens. You no longer attract manipulators. You repel them energetically, because they sense what you now embody: strength, clarity, sovereignty. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your healing must have a why, not just to feel better, but to become someone who can no longer be deceived. Someone who walks into every room with their soul intact. Someone whose peace is not up for negotiation. That is the untouchable self. And now we must speak of forgiveness, not for them, but for you. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not pretending it didn't happen. Forgiveness is choosing to release the grip that pain has on your identity. You are not what they did to you. You are what you choose to become after. You are not the version of yourself that begged, that wept, that stayed. You are the version that rose. Look around. You survived. You endured. You woke up. You saw through the mask. And that alone is a revolution. There are people still trapped, still believing the lies, still confusing abuse for love. But not you. You are awake now. And the awakened soul cannot be manipulated, because it sees clearly. So what now? You rebuild. You protect your energy like sacred fire. You surround yourself with people who don't need to be convinced of your worth. You stop explaining your magic to those committed to misunderstanding it. You become the person you were waiting for. Not perfect, not unscarred, but whole. And when love returns, and it will, you will recognize it not by the butterflies, but by the peace. Not by the highs and lows, but by the stillness. You will no longer be impressed by charm. You will be drawn to presence, to depth, to truth. Because those who have been manipulated without remorse do not crave fantasy anymore. They crave reality. They crave what is real. Final question. Are you ready to stop surviving and start living from a place that no manipulator can ever touch again? This is your initiation, your return, your reset. You have looked into the eyes of control and chosen freedom. You have walked through the fire of confusion and chosen clarity. You have been lied to, gaslighted, discarded, and yet here you are, stronger, wiser, unshakable. And if this journey has moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, because someone out there is still trapped in the illusion, still calling manipulation love, still waiting for an apology that will never come. Be the light that shows them the way out. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You are returning. You are not alone. You are awakening.